All right, so we're going to spend another minute here on these ones on the bottom. So this is just going to be a separate recording. And we were talking earlier about willpower, self-discipline, self-control. We're talking about grit, work ethic, stoicism, Spartan mindset, belief systems. Anyways, all of those things also play together with these 12 on the bottom. And they're not exclusive of each other. It's all inclusive, and it's an integrated system. And unfortunately, some people do some of it, but they don't do all of it. And if you don't do all of it, then you don't really give it a chance to actually be effective. So purpose, that's one on the bottom. If you don't know what your chief aim is or your goal within something, how do you know you're going to get there? So your purpose, very important. Your values. If you don't understand what you value, if you haven't clearly stated that, then how do you know whether you're moving towards your values or away from your values? Very difficult. It must be done. You have to state that. Your focus, your ability to understand what you're focusing on and what you're thinking within any given situation, super, super important. If you lose focus, if you lose sight of what that purpose is, then you're obviously have more of a good chance that you're going to be off target. Coming over here to habits. We talked about willpower and habits. The habits, they create the environment that your dreams are either going to grow in or they're going to die in, or they're just going to kind of fester in. So choose your habits, choose them wisely. It takes anywhere from 21 to 55 repetitions on a habit to make it something consistent. That's the information that's out there right now. Obviously, that's a little bit bigger. The 21 is more of a new habit. Closer to 55 is going to be more of a, getting rid of an old habit and creating a new habit. Beliefs, your belief system, what you believe in life to be true. This could be faith, this could be fear, this could be other things, but the things that you believe create the filters in your mind and the glasses on your head through which you view the world. And so those beliefs affect you. Your vocabulary, we talked about vocabulary before. If you don't have a great vocabulary, if you're not building your vocabulary, if you're not refining your vocabulary, and you're not also understanding what you do and don't know, you're going to have a difficult time describing what it is you're experiencing. And again, your vocabulary limits your experience in life. Let's come over here to decisions. Now, decisions and decision making. You need to make decisions and practice making decisions. You also need to understand how to make decisions. So depending on the situation, there's anywhere from 6 to 9 to 12 steps in the critical thinking, decision making, question forward way of actually processing. So you need to understand what that looks like, and the clearer you are on the things in front of it, the better you make decisions. If you don't know what your values or your purpose is, then how could you ever really make a good decision? You just make a decision and you see how it goes. Then attitude, your personality, the way that you look at things as far as your and it relates to your beliefs too, but the way that you approach something. Are you grateful for something? Are you energized looking towards something? With the way that you interact with somebody, what you put value on, it shows up in the way that you act and your attitude. And attitude is often worn on your body, almost like some people will say an aura. So your attitude, the way that it feels when you enter a room, that's the representation of your attitude. Communication, your ability to actually communicate not only to other people, but to yourself effectively. And this doesn't just mean that you say something and that you say it well. It means that you say something and that you are able to understand the way that that person's going to hear you and how they're going to process it, understanding their filters and their level of understanding and their vocabulary, so that you communicate in a way that is understandable for them and that they can take action on it appropriately within the confines or the structure that you want them to take action. So that's communication, or some people would say that would be partially influence as well. Rules. You need to know what your rules are. You need to know the things that you're willing to do, not willing to do, the things that structure your life, your framework, so to speak. References. References are your experiences, and they might not necessarily be your experiences the way they actually happened. Again, because the way that you perceive things is your truth, whether or not that's the actual truth or your version of the truth, with the current administration out there talking about alternative facts and things like that. They base their information, or you base your information based on your references, your experiences. So make sure that you're active in understanding what your experience was versus what you thought it was, and then examine that as you move forward, because it's going to impact your life. And then the last one is imagination, creativity, critical thinking. It's a bunch of different things that relate to imagination and the ability to use your mind to create the uh, the atmosphere around you, so to speak. So your ability to actually use that, and not many people stop and think about things. So reflecting back and looking on things and then thinking about it and then evaluating or reevaluating, it's very, very helpful. If you're really going to try and make progress, you're going to have to stop. You're going to have to imagine things the way you want them to be. Then you're going to have to probably think about what's gone on in the past, your references. Then you might have to think what might happen in the future. And then, because you're acting on purpose, your values, your focus, you're utilizing your habits within your beliefs, you are framing it within your vocabulary, your decisions are, impacting it moving forward, your attitude comes alive with what you're doing. That ability to communicate moves you towards that goal based and working within your rules. And then again, back into references, imagination. So the whole thing plays together, and you can see how that works. But those are just 12 things on the bottom. They're not the only 12, but there are 12 that are critical, that utilize and work together with willpower, self-discipline, self-control, grit, work ethic, stoicism, Spartan-like behavior, mindsets, belief systems.